This is Histories and Mysteries. I'm Ashley.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Rochelle.
And it's our Christmas episode.
Merry Christmas! Or Happy Holidays, or if you don't celebrate anything, Happy December!
Happy days. And on this week's episode, Ashley is going to be finishing her Josh Duggar series now that we have the verdict from the trial.
Ew.
And I'm going to be giving an actual Christmas story, and it's the history of Santa Claus.
Yay! That'll be fun.
Yay.
So before I forget, I do have an update on Maura Murray. Remember how we left off where they found those bones at that resort that was close to where she went missing?
Yeah.
They're not hers. So,
Aww.
yeah. So the case continues. All right. So let's finish up this horrible thing that is Josh Duggar. So just a quick recap from last week. He had touched his sisters and two family friends inappropriately. He went away to a camp. They told the state trooper about it, and he was like, nah, dude, it's fine. So now this is all going on behind the scenes because obviously, you know, we know the Duggars are pretty famous, pretty well known family, and this is all going on behind the scenes. Nobody knows about this. This isn't out in the public yet. And so the family kind of moves on, and in 2008 they start their show 17 Kids and Counting on TLC. So this all started even before they started their show.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You know what's ironic is that it's called like that TLC is like tender loving care.
Yeah.
Oh
Yes.
gosh.
Okay. So throughout this series, one of the things that happens is Josh gets married to Anna Keller, who unfortunately remains by his side through everything, even till now. She found out about the molestation and she stayed with him and stuff like that. Now, I think a lot of us are like, how in the world could she do that? But then we have to remember what kind of church she was brought up in and what kind of home she was brought up in, that you're subservient to your man no matter what. And I think a lot of it probably was like, she's like, well, he made a mistake and he's not doing it anymore and it's fine, you know, and she was trying to, I don't know. I think sometimes people are harsh on her because we don't understand how she grew up. But
Well, and honestly, it just kind of seems like she's brainwashed, right?
that's kind of what I was trying to get at. Yeah, for sure. But this show blows up, and people talk about how it's like a little modern Little House on the Prairie with all these great family values. My mom loved the show. She's like, it's just so nice. They're just such a nice Christian family. And it always made me mad because I was like, why the hell do you need that many fucking kids? Anyway, so the show continues and adds numbers as they keep popping out kids. So you know, it goes to 18 Kids and Counting and 19 Kids and Counting. But in 2015, so 7 years after the show starts, In Touch magazine gets wind of these old sexual molestation and incest allegations, and they blast that story. And then TLC decides to pull all the reruns from the air. The show is still going, but they pulled all the reruns, which I think is weird. But
that's weird. Like, why wouldn't you leave the reruns, which people have already seen, and then just
cancel
like,
the show?
Cancel the show.
Yeah, they did it kind of. I mean, they do cancel it obviously, but they did it like backwards.
That's weird.
So the day after In Touch posted, the day after they posted the police record, because they got the police record based on that Freedom of Information Act. This is really weird to me. And I couldn't find really too much more into it, but an Arkansas judge ordered the police report to be destroyed. But the damage had obviously already been done. It was already out there in the public. But the police spokesman said that generally reports like this are kept indefinitely, but this one no longer exists in the eyes of the police. So the only thing I can think of is that the judge was trying to protect the minors in the story, but they were all redacted. So I don't really know. Who knows? So in June, Jim Bob and Michelle appear on TV. Remember, that's the mom and dad, to interview about the sexual assault and incest. They confirm what had happened and that the victims were 4 of their children. And then they tried to deflect by saying The Duggars believe the bigger story is how Josh's police records were released under Freedom of Information Act, and they threatened to sue to protect juvenile records because mistakes juveniles make when they're young should be sealed, Jim Bob says. So not even the I don't want this to get out about my daughters. I want to protect them. It's I need to protect Josh.
Yeah, it's a little ass backwards.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah. And then finally on July 16th, their show was officially canceled.
Woohoo! Like
Yes.
this year?
No, of 2015, I think.
Oh, that was a while ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the next in the long list of scandals for this guy. Do you guys know what Ashley Madison is?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
like for cheating, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard about this one.
Yeah. So actually, Ashley Madison is a Canadian-based company, so y'all aren't that nice up there. And
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's for people that are looking to have affairs. And in 2015, there was a data breach where all this information about the users of Ashley Madison got released into the public. And Josh Duggar was one of the names on there. Apparently, he spent $986.76 in 2013 for 2 Ashley Madison subscriptions that he canceled in 2015 after shit hit the fan. So he had these accounts, all this stuff on him came out, and he's like, I best pull out of everything that I'm doing bad.
Wow.
Yeah. He came out and made a statement that said, I have been the biggest hypocrite ever. While espousing faith and family values, I have secretly over the last several years been viewing pornography on the internet, and this became a secret addiction, and I became unfaithful to my wife. The last few years, while publicly stating I was fighting against immorality in our country, I was hiding my own personal failures. But so he started his account in 2013 when he was the executive director of the Family Research Council, which is a lobbyist group that pushes for marriage and family as the foundation of civilization. So while he's trying to step out on his wife after molesting his sisters, he is the executive director of the Family Research Council, pushing for marriage and family as the foundation of civilization.
Yeah. I guess hypocrite.
Yeah. They, of course, push against homosexuality because, you know, they ruin the sanctity of marriage, but not child molestation, incest, and adultery. You know, whatevs. According to the data, Josh Duggar was paying Ashley Madison in order to find an extramarital extramarital partner for the following acts. Conventional sex, experimenting with sex toys, one-night stands, open to experimentation, gentleness, good with your hands, sensual massage, extended foreplay/teasing, bubble bath for 2, likes to give oral sex, likes to receive oral sex, someone I can teach, someone who can teach me, kissing, cuddling and hugging, sharing fantasies, sex talk.
What?
Yeah, so this is what he put as like what he was looking for. And here are the turn-ons that he put.
Oh no.
Professional, well-groomed, stylish, classy, casual jeans, t-shirt type, muscular.
And you know what's funny is that he's saying like jeans and t-shirt when his wife is like a skirt wearing church lady.
Yeah.
Well, let me keep going. Muscular, fit body, petite figure, tall height, short hair, long hair, short hair, girl next door, naughty girl, sense of humor, imagination, creative and adventurous, relaxed and easygoing, aggressive, take charge nature, confidence, discretion, secrecy, a good listener, good personal hygiene, average sex drive, high sex drive, dislikes routines, has a secret love nest, disease-free, drug-free, and natural breasts. So those are Josh Duggar's turn-ons.
It just makes him seem even creepier.
I know. So he had 2 accounts because he started one and then he moved to DC. And of course, the only logical thing to do is to start another one, right? And he even paid an extra $250 for a guarantee of affair within 3 months. So once this hits, he checks himself into a long-term treatment facility called Reformers Unanimous, not Anonymous, Unanimous. But guess what? The co-founder of Reformers Unanimous is also now accused of sexual abuse.
Of course.
Of course. So fast forward to November 2019, Josh Duggar is just hanging out, owning a car dealership when the Department of Homeland Security walks in and says, "Excuse us," and proceeds to raid the place, which also come to find out his car dealership is illegal because he never filled out the proper paperwork to gain a commercial permit. So he's got that on him too. Anywho, it was apparently part of an ongoing federal investigation on May 14th, 15th, and 16th of 2019, where Josh Duggar downloaded child pornography onto his work computer. The files were tagged by a detective in Little Rock, Arkansas, who sent it up the ladder. So, trigger warning, child abuse. So, there were apparently videos of children from the age of 12 years all the way down to 18 months.
What?
Being sexually abused.
That's heinous.
Yeah. The Homeland Security officer said that it's in the top 5 of the worst he's ever had to examine.
Holy crap.
Yeah. According to another agent, when they showed up to raid Josh's work, they didn't tell him what it was about. And he said, "What is this about? Has someone been downloading child pornography?"
No.
Yes, he did. They also found a program on Josh's computer called Covenant Eyes, and it basically looks for unwanted activity, so in this case, porn, and sends a report to a designated person. It's to help keep people accountable if they're struggling with like watching porn. And this report went to his wife, Anna, but apparently the app couldn't detect what he was doing because he had a password-protected network that he was going on. So several months later after this raid, on April of 2021, Josh was arrested for 1 count of receiving child pornography and 1 count of possession.
That's just gross. And he has young children.
Yep.
Just 1 account.
Yeah, just 1 count. I'm not really sure why, because there were several pictures, so I don't know if it's like one, like they just do it for like 1 computer, 1 group. I'm not really sure how that works. But yeah, while he was sitting in prison, his wife gave birth, I think. So they have like a newborn. So during his arraignment, Josh, of course, pled not guilty. And it was ruled that if he were granted bail, which they still had to have that hearing for, he would not be able to be around minors. Again, he has 7 kids at this point, so he would not be able to go home. He was granted bail, but to a family friend house. Another thing that came up in the pretrial was also prosecution fought to be able to use his former incidences in court to kind of establish a pattern. And thankfully they won. So let the trial begin. And I have to say the next part I got from a Live 5 article, and they like each day they broke it down. And so it was really great. So I just want to call them out. So
This is like a side note, but it like I laughed at it. You know, like the Ghislaine Maxwell case, like Jeffrey Epstein and stuff like that. With a picture that the court were like the artist like drew, and it's like Ghislaine Maxwell like staring at her, drawing right back.
That's so creepy. Yeah, it's some of the I've seen some of the court drawings for this one, and whoever was doing it is really good. They're really good drawings, but
It's like the audacity just to be like, "I'm drawing you right back."
Yeah, I hate her too. So day 1, prosecution first calls Detective Amber Calmer to the stand. She also shed a little bit of light on how they found out about Josh's sexual abuse videos. She said that there are videos that are out there that are shared on Google and Yahoo, and like they screen for certain faces. So like they know these videos are out here. They like have a system that looks for these faces. When they're shared, they get the police get notified. The program she uses is called peer-to-peer, and it reaches out to computers sharing these images. And once the connection is made, they have a geological area of where they are. So that's kind of how they caught him. Defense this day tried to claim that one of the special agents of the prosecution that the prosecution had questioned was wrong about the timeline. The agent said originally the images had been downloaded on business days between 10 and 11 p.m., but the defense said it was between 4 and 5 p.m. But that's all it really said, and I couldn't figure out why that matters, but whatever. So day 2, the defense's argument is that someone else downloaded the child pornography. Basically, they use the argument of the equivalent to like, these aren't my pants. So, but they found out that the people who downloaded the child pornography, or not the people, sorry, Josh, who downloaded the child pornography, used the same password to access that as Josh's password to his Amazon account.
Stupid do you have to be?
Right? Then they also pointed out that some of the pictures.
I just say I am pretty stupid in that way. My passwords are all the same.
Yeah, but if you were doing something illegal, I probably would use the same password too, actually.
But that's the thing, right? Like, you're not doing anything wrong. Like, it's easy to just use the same password for everything. Like, I do the same thing. But when you're doing something illegal, like, it would make more sense.
Maybe switch it up.
Yeah.
So they also pointed out that some of the pictures that Josh took on his used car lot, like just pictures of cars and stuff, were taken around the same times that the child pornography was loaded up or viewed. So he was there. And here's the kicker. They have a photo of Josh's reflection in a computer screen where he has a wholesale's motor car hat on, which he's also wearing in a picture that he took later that day with his wife. So they know that's him.
Oh my goodness.
So somehow the same day when we know Josh was there using that same computer, child pornography was accessed from that computer. So weird.
So who were they trying to blame for downloading this crap?
Just some random hacker. And actually at one point the prosecution kind of makes fun of them and says, so you're saying these Russian hackers.
Oh my goodness.
So day 3, the prosecution rests after calling 12 separate witnesses. Day 4, the defense tried to claim that someone remotely accessed the computer, like we said. One of the witnesses that they called was Michelle Bush, who was a digital forensics expert. She said that they didn't take Josh's router, which was super important, so you can't definitively tell who was the one that downloaded them. But after digging into Michelle, the prosecution basically for an hour and a half just like ripped her apart. So one of the things she claimed was that she had 10 years experience as a forensics examiner, but she graduated from the University of Arizona in 2015. So there's no way she could have 10 years of experience. Bush also admitted that she never specifically took a course about Linux, which is the operating system that Josh Duggar was using. And she also claimed to have testified in federal court as an expert witness many times, but upon questioning, found out that no, this was her first time. So she's a big fat liar.
So is she being charged?
Probably should be, right?
Yeah.
So after this, the defense rests. They only called up 2 witnesses. They didn't have a big case. I mean, what are you going to say? You know? Day 5, closing arguments were made. The prosecution said the computer where the child porn was downloaded was in his office on his car lot, and the passwords were used to get around the software that alerted his wife if he viewed porn. And then the defense just still used the "not my pants" excuse. So the jury deliberation begins. And I think it took him 11 hours, maybe. It was over the course of 2 days. And he was found guilty on all charges. So now he awaits sentencing, which he could face up to 20 years in prison and $250,000 in fines. But he won't be sentenced for about 4 months.
Why?
It's just how long it takes.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
So someone I was listening to, and I can't remember who, made up the good point, and I've heard this before, that generally on the dark web with these kinds of pictures, you have to send your own pictures to prove that like you're in this with them, you know? So like if you try to bring them down, they can bring you down. So that being the case, it makes me wonder where Josh was getting his pictures, if that was the case where they had to share them. And I do know that at one point while this was going on, the courts wanted to kind of not interview, but like have some forensic psychologist sit down with the children and stuff like that and talk to them, make sure everything was okay. Obviously, both him and Anna said no, but now that he's guilty, it might be court ordered. And if it's court ordered, Anna can't even be there. Prior to that, she had the option of being there. And that, since she said no in the first place, she no longer has the option. And if anything is found out, Anna might be charged as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, crap. Yeah, because I was wondering earlier, it's like, what makes us think that he didn't do that stuff to his children when he did it to his own sisters?
Yeah, I feel like incest is one of those lines where you cross it, you're okay with crossing.
Yeah,
like
of
that's not
course.
something you cross it and then go back on. Yeah, so it makes me worried.
Well, and that's the thing. And it's like, if Anna keeps defending him and being supportive of him this whole time through all of this crap that's come out, who's to say that she hasn't like just brushed it under the rug and knows something that none of us do?
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think part of it too, I was reading another article that Josh was so good at gaslighting that obviously the stuff when he was little, she knew about, not little, but younger, she knew about, but this stuff, she may very well have believed that it wasn't true. She believed him, and now she's found out that she shouldn't have believed him. So we'll kind of see what happens in the weeks and months here. But a side note, Jana Duggar was just recently charged with endangering the welfare of a minor, but everything is sealed up, so nothing is known about it. I've heard some rumors going around on the internet that it's, and I have no idea. These are just rumors I read, that, possibly like she fell asleep while she was watching some kids and one of them like got out of the house was one of the rumors I heard. So I haven't heard anything like crazy awful. But we don't know. And the charge that she is charged with could be 3 months in prison and up to $1,000 fine. And her trial starts January 10th. So I'm sure we'll hear more about it then.
Holy crap. And I feel so bad for her because it's like, it's honestly probably because of the crap that just came out about her brother that this is happening.
Well, and Jill, who I think she's the estranged sister, right?
Yep.
She's the oldest one.
She came out and basically said like justice was served, and she prays for, the other victims and hopes that they're okay and that kind of thing.
Yeah, Jana said not Jana. Who did I send? Oh, I did send you Jill, right? No. What did I? Oh, Ginger.
Ginger with the J.
Ginger said that. Yeah, Ginger said that too, I think. I think that was the Instagram post that I sent you. It was from Ginger. Yeah. Yeah. They're very happy, I think, that justice was served finally.
I think so too. And even if they say they're not, I think somewhere they probably are. It's just they have to put on a face for the family,
Yeah. And I mean, like, he could finally potentially get the help that he needs. And I mean, I think that regardless of what his sentencing turns out to be, that he's not going to be allowed around children ever again.
Yeah.
So
100%.
And I think that's a positive.
I just feel bad for his kids too, because they basically lost a dad, depending on what was happening to them.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Like, I mean, if he was doing stuff to them, then I don't think that it's that much of a negative. Yeah.
Well, Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you loved that. And that was such an uplifting, holiday, heartwarming story for you.
Christmas time is here.
Yeah. And it was already like kind of a longer story. So obviously that was a really super quick overview of it. If you want to hear like super in detail about the trial, you can look at Katie. I think it's Katie Joy. She has a YouTube channel, or the Sojo podcast. They go really in depth in detail in it. So check those out.
Awesome. Thanks, Ashley, for keeping us updated on that story. It was pretty fascinating and really
pretty
horrible to hear about.
Let's hear about something good and Christmassy now.
Okay. Do you guys want to hear about Santa Claus?
Yeah, but I want you to sing the whole thing like Jessica made me do to the names last week.
I made you do that.
I meant Rochelle.
Okay.
It was exactly what I wanted.
What am I singing?
Your whole
here
story.
Comes Santa Claus.
The history of Santa Claus. St. Nicholas was a bishop. Flourished in the 4th century.
And now we have exactly one listener left.
So he flourished in the 4th century in Asia Minor at the city of Myra, now called Turkey. He was extremely wealthy because his parents died when he was young and left him a sizable inheritance. He was also an extremely generous man with a reputation for assisting the destitute and offering secret presents to those in need. The most well-known story about St. Nicholas describes how the tradition of hanging stockings to place gifts in began.
Oh.
And this is how it goes. Once upon a time, there was a poor man who had 3 daughters. Because this dad was so poor, he couldn't afford a dowry, and his daughters were unable to marry. And to those of you that don't know what a dowry is, it is a sum of money paid to the bridegroom on the wedding day by the bride's parents.
It's how much your girl worth.
Exactly. Nicholas slipped a sack of gold down the chimney and into the house one night. And this meant that the oldest daughter was then able to be married.
Aww.
The bag landed in a stocking that had been placed to dry near the fire. This happened again with the second daughter. Finally, the father lurked by the fire every evening until he caught Nicholas dropping in a bag of gold, determined to find the person who had given him the money. Nicholas pleaded with the man not to tell anyone about what he had done because he didn't want to draw attention to himself. However, word spread very quickly, and everybody who received a secret present was assumed to have received it from Nicholas. Nicholas was made a saint as a result of his kindness. Not only is St. Nicholas the patron saint of children, but he is also the patron saint of seafarers or sailors.
Diversify.
Yeah, it's a weird combination. Children to sailors. According to one version, he rescued some sailors who were stranded in a terrible storm off the coast of Turkey. The storm raged all around them, and the men were worried that their ship would be sunk beneath the massive waves. They appealed to St. Nicholas for assistance, and so he appeared out of nowhere on the deck in front of them.
Of course he did.
Yeah. He then calmed the sea, the storm passed, and they were able to safely sail their ship to port.
Wow. Oh, Santa.
You know, it's a St. Nicholas.
Isn't that Santa?
Before he was Santa. This is
sorry.
This is
My
the
bad.
real dude, St.
Oh.
Nicholas. He's a real dude.
Yeah.
Santa's
a real dude, Jessica.
St. Nicholas was then exiled from Myra and imprisoned during Emperor Diocletian's persecution of Christians. But he was liberated during the reign of Emperor Constantine, who was a Christian. In 325, St. Nicholas was present at the Council of Nicaea, I don't know, where things about Christianity were discussed. No one knows for sure when St. Nicholas died, although it was on the 6th of December in either 343, which appears to be the most likely, 345, or 352. Some Italian merchant sailors stole his bones from Turkey in 1087.
That's rude.
Stole his bones from a turkey. Poor turkey.
Oh. The remains are presently housed in the Bari Cathedral, which bears his name. The sailors of Bari still carry St. Nicholas's statue out to sea on his feast day, which is December 6th, so that he can bless the waters and grant them safe travels throughout the year.
That's cute. I like that story.
Me too. So, how did good Bishop Nicholas, a kindly Christian saint, become a roly-poly red-suited American symbol of a holiday festivity and commercial activity? Well, I will tell you. St. Nicholas was brought to the New World by the first Europeans. So in Greenland, Vikings dedicated their cathedral to him. On December 6th, 1492, Columbus named a Haitian port after St. Nicholas during his first voyage. St. Nicholas Ferry, known as Jacksonville, was named by Spaniards in Florida. St. Nicholas, on the other hand, had a difficult time during the 16th century Protestant Reformation, which was critical of saints. Despite the efforts of both reformers and counter-reformers to eradicate St. Nicholas-related customs, they had little long-term success, with the exception of England, where religious folk traditions were permanently altered. And it's kind of ironic that ardent Puritan Christians started what became a trend toward a more secular Christmas observance. St. Nicholas survived on the European continent because people continued to leave nuts, apples, and sweets in shoes left beside beds or on windowsills or in front of the hearth because the common people loved him so much. The first settlers in the New World, primarily Puritans and other Protestant reformers, did not bring Nicholas traditions with them. So what about the Dutch? Although it is widely assumed that the Dutch introduced St. Nicholas to New Amsterdam, scholars have found scant evidence of such traditions in Dutch New Netherland. The Feast of St. Nicholas was observed by colonial Germans in Pennsylvania, and several later accounts have St. Nicholas visiting New York Dutch on New Year's Eve, thus adopting the English custom. So basically, New Year gift giving had become the English custom in 1558, replacing Nicholas, and this English custom lasted in New York until 1847.
I did not know that was a thing, gift giving on New Year's Day.
I didn't either.
Interesting.
And it's a thing in a couple different places, and I think it's still like a kind of a thing in a couple places nowadays.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Non-Dutch patriots in New York founded the Sons of St. Nicholas in 1773, primarily as a non-British symbol to counter the English St. George societies, rather than to honor St. Nicholas. This society was similar to Philadelphia's Son of St. Tammany, not exactly St. Nicholas, the giver of gifts to children. New Yorkers remembered their colony's nearly forgotten Dutch beginnings with pride after the American Revolution. St. Nicholas was proclaimed as the patron saint of both society and city by John Pintard, a prominent patriot and antiquarian who formed the New York Historical Society in 1804. Washington Irving joined the club in January 1809, and on St. Nicholas Day of the same year, he released Knickerbocker's History of New York, a satirical novel with several references to a jovial St. Nicholas character. So it was an elfin Dutch burger. The fuck's a burger?
It's usually a patty of meat with a bun, lettuce, tomatoes.
Oh, no, it says citizen. So it was he was an elfin Dutch citizen with a clay pipe, not the pious bishop. The New Amsterdam St. Nicholas stories are based on these charming flights of fancy that the first Dutch emigrant ship carried a figurehead of St. Nicholas, that St. Nicholas Day was observed in the colony, that the first church was dedicated to him, and that St. Nicholas brings gifts down chimneys. Irving's work was hailed as the first significant work of imagination in the New World. On December 6, 1810, the New York Historical Society hosted its first St. Nicholas anniversary supper. For the occasion, John Pintard commissioned artist Alexander Anderson to make the first American portrait of Nicholas. Nicholas was depicted as a gift giver with children's sweets hanging from stockings above a fireplace. The accompanying poem ends, quote, "St. Nicholas, my dear good friend, to serve you ever was my end. If you will now me something give, I'll serve you ever while I live," unquote. Which is super cute.
I like it.
I like it. It's super cute. The 19th century was a period of cultural change. Others, like New York writers, aspired to domesticate the Christmas season. Following the elimination of Christmas as a holy season by Puritans and other Calvinists, popular celebrations became wild, with drunken men and public mayhem.
That's kind of parties I'm talking about.
Yeah. Christmas in the past did not resemble the images we have of family gathered around a hearth and tree exchanging lovely gifts and singing carols while smiling kindly at youngsters. Rather, it was loud, drunken gangs roaming the streets, destroying property and menacing and terrifying the upper classes.
Oh no.
Yeah. After harvest, when work was easier and more leisure was allowed, the Christmas season was a period when workers and servants had the upper hand, expecting more and more. Presbyterians, Baptists, Quakers, and other Protestants continued to see December 25th as a day without religious importance, as it was a day for routine business throughout the first part of the 19th century. This was not a neutral position. Rather, the celebration of Christmas was considered as incompatible with gospel worship. Industrialists were content to limit workers' leisure time and allow far fewer vacations than in Europe. As a new perspective of family life and the role of children emerged, all of this began to alter. Childhood was becoming to be viewed as a stage of life that required more care, shelter, training, and education. As a result, the season began to calm down, focusing on shops and the house. To meet the changing times, St. Nicholas took on new characteristics as well. The publishing of The Children's Friend, America's first lithographed book in 1821, introduced some new components. This Santa Claus arrived on a sleigh pulled by flying reindeer from the North Pole. The anonymous poem and graphics were essential in moving the focus away from the saintly bishop. St. Claus used a moralistic approach, rewarding good behavior and punishing bad, and leaving a, quote, long black birchen rod directs a parent's hand to use when virtue's path his sons refuse, unquote. Gifts were safe toys, so pretty dolls, peg tops, or a ball. No crackers, cannons, squibs, or rockets to blow their eyes up or their pockets. No drums to stun their mother's ear, nor swords to make their sisters fear, but pretty books to store their mind with knowledge of each various kind. It was also mentioned that the sleigh had its own bookshelf to house the pretty books. It was also notably mentioned that his first appearance was on Christmas Eve, not on December 6th.
Oh, that's cool. I like the library and the sleigh. That's pretty interesting.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
In 1823, a poem that would go on to become extremely popular gave the cheery elf image yet another boost. And this is called, it was originally called A Visit from St. Nicholas, which is now known as The Night Before Christmas.
Aw.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm going to read a couple little excerpts from this poem.
Was the night before Christmas and all through the house.
So he was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf.
I love it.
Isn't that cute? I never even heard those parts, and that was super cute.
Really? You haven't heard that?
No.
Oh, it's so cute.
I just hear the night before Christmas and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse.
The stockings are hung by the chimney with care in hopes that St. Nicholas soon will be there.
Oh yeah, that part.
Children all nestled, all snug in their beds, and visions of sugar plums dance in their heads. And Ma in her kerchief and I in her cap just settled down for a long winter's nap.
Okay, maybe I do know a bit more, but The poem's depiction of a round, pipe-smoking elf-like St. Nicholas was heavily influenced by Washington Irving's St. Nicholas. Clement Clark Moore, a professor of biblical languages at the Episcopal General Theological Seminary in New York, is often credited with writing the poem. Moore was a friend and neighbor of William Gilly, the author of Sankt Claus, which was published in 1821. Old St. Claus, with much delight, his reindeer drives the frosty night, o'er chimney tops and tracks of snow to bring his yearly gifts to you.
That doesn't rhyme.
That's what
What
I
the
was just thinking.
fuck?
I was just thinking the same thing. I finished reading and it's like, what the fuck? That did not rhyme, buddy. I wonder nobody's heard of your shit. However, Don Foster argues, an author unknown, that it was originally written by Henry Livingston in 1807 or 1808. Livingston was a farmer and patriot who composed children's poems. In any case, A Visit from St. Nicholas became a holiday classic in the United States. Regardless of who penned it, the poem had a huge impact on the Americanization of St. Nicholas. With the invention of a new Santa Claus, custom by Washington Irving, John Pintard, and Clement Clark Moore, the New York aristocracy,
Aristocracy.
Thank you. All I could think of was Aristocats, and my brain was frying. Oh God, no. Okay, yeah, you said that word. Aristocracy?
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, so the New York aristocracy succeeded in domesticating Christmas. Sorry. Moore's poem was reprinted in 4 new almanacs in 1824, only a year after it first appeared in the Troy, New York newspaper. The poem, as well as other accounts of the Santa Claus ritual, began to appear in a growing number of local papers. More than anything else, A Visit from St. Nicholas popularized the concept of a warm domestic Santa Christmas. Unlike the stately European bishop, other painters and writers maintained the shift to an elf-like St. Nicholas, Sankt Claus, or Santa Claus. During the Civil War, political cartoonist Thomas Nast produced a series of annual black and white drawings in Harper's Weekly based on descriptions contained in the poem and Washington Irving's work, which began in 1863. These sketches depicted a chubby Santa with a flowing beard, fur coats, and an ever-present clay pipe. President Lincoln believed that Santa's backing for the Union helped the Union Army succeed by depressing Confederate soldiers. Nast's art influenced the formation of the American Santa Claus because he drew Santas until 1886.
Aww.
Along with his physical form, the saint's name was changed to Santa Claus, a phonetic change from the German Sankt Nikolaus. Churches began to include Christmas observances in their life after being influenced by German immigrants who adored Christmas. Clement Clark Moore, Washington Irving, Charles Dickens, the Oxford movement in the Anglican Church, and church musicians who embraced carol singing. Hundreds of thousands of children were exposed to Christianity as Sunday schools grew in popularity in cities. Initially averse to Christmas celebrations, Sunday schools realized in the 1850s that a Christmas tree, Santa Claus, and gifts dramatically increased attendance. As a result, in an odd turn of events, the new secular Santa Claus, who was no longer recognized as a religious character, assisted in the restoration of Christmas observance in churches. Santa was then depicted in a variety of styles, sizes, and colors by dozens of painters. However, by the end of the 1920s, N.C. Wyeth, J.C. Leyendecker, Norman Rockwell, and other popular illustrators had created a classic American Santa, life-sized in a crimson fur-trimmed costume. Hayden Sundblom started 35 years of Coca-Cola Santa advertisements in 1931. which further popularized and firmly entrenched the Santa as an icon of current commercial culture. Santa was life-sized, jovial, and dressed in the now famous red costume.
I was gonna say, I loved those Coca-Cola commercials though.
They were so cute.
I think it's funny that they say life size. Like, what else would he be? Like dead sized? Tiny elf size?
That's the thing, because he was like
Okay.
depicted as being like elf-like, right? So that's kind of where his origins came from. He was like elfin. He advertised Coke in publications, billboards, and storefronts, pushing Americans to think of it as the answer to a thirst for all seasons. By the 1950s, Santa had become a global source of goodwill, endorsing a dizzying array of consumer goods. Because of his financial success, the North American Santa Claus has been spread all over the world, posing a danger to the European Saint Nicholas, who has maintained his identity as a Christian bishop and saint. It's been a long road from St. Nicholas, the Bishop of Myra in the 4th century, who demonstrated his love to God through great kindness and giving to those in need, to America's jovial Santa Claus, whose bounty often provides pleasure to the wealthy. But if you peel back the layers, he's still Nicholas, Bishop of Myra, who continues to model true giving and fidelity with his compassionate surprises. In the United States, there's considerable interest in restoring the original saint to help reestablish a spiritual component to this joyful season. And indeed, St. Nicholas, patron saint of children and lover of the poor, is a model of how Christians should behave. Nicholas, a bishop, centered his life, ministry, and entire existence on Jesus Christ. True, St. Nicholas traditions are being embraced by families, churches, and schools as a way to claim the true center of Christmas, the birth of Jesus, which was in April, putting it out there. And this kind of emphasis can help bring balance to the increasingly materialistic and stressful Advent and Christmas seasons. So that is my story, but I have different Santas from around the world.
Oh.
If you guys are interested.
I'm very interested. I saw a different Santas from around the world exhibit in one of like a Christmas thing. It was pretty cool. Oh, cool. I do have to say, Jess, I liked your story. It was a little cynical though.
Why? Why?
No, I'm just kidding. I loved the end, how you like brought it back to Saint Nick and like how it's really supposed to be about the greater good and like helping people and not like just getting gifts and wealthy.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was like very sweet getting back to kind of like the origins of it, because I didn't know any of this stuff.
Yeah.
So,
but I do think that sometimes Christmas gets a bad rap because everybody's like, oh, it's so commercialized, and that's true. But I think for me anyway, Christmas is my favorite holiday, and for me it's kind of like what you make of it. Like if you want it to be all about gifts and commercial, it can be, but if you want it to be about like family and friends and helping people, it can be too.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm gonna start off with Sinterklaas.
Oh, can I guess where he's from?
Yeah.
Sinterklaas. I want to say Germany, but I know it's not from Germany.
Close, I think. Hopefully that was correct. It's Dutch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
Yeah. So it's a Dutch legend based on St. Nicholas. On December 6th, a man dressed as a bishop in a red cape rides into town and notes which children have been naughty or nice in his big red book. Next, we have Zwart Piet, or Black Peter.
Oh, yeah. I know this one.
This one is highly controversial.
Did you talk about him last year around Christmas?
I don't think so, because I talked about the Yule cat and then
a couple
Eliza
other
Lamb.
creatures.
No,
I thought you did some other creatures.
He's not a
Yule
creature.
cat.
He's a human being.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
He's a black man.
But the problem is they all do blackface.
Exactly. That was the thing. Yeah, he did blackface. So.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah. So this one, again, like I said, is highly controversial. However, he is the assistant to Sinterklaas. He is noted to hand candy out to good children and spank bad children with a broomstick. Next, we have Father Christmas, which was the earliest depiction dating back to the 15th century. Then we have the Yule goat, which is the reindeer equivalent for Father Christmas. The legend of the goat began in ancient Slavic times. The goats were used to carry in offerings to the gods of fertility and harvest, and now they are depicted carrying Father Christmas. Next, we have Dead Moroz, which is Grandfather Frost, and Snegurochka, which is Snow Maiden, and they're from Russia. So I think my pronunciations were spot on. Grandfather Frost often delivers the gifts to children on New Year's Eve, and he and the Snow Maiden are said to ride into the village on a horse-drawn carriage. Then we have Mikulas. He is from Eastern Europe. He also arrives in early December and gives treats to good children, while bad children will receive wooden spoons or potatoes.
I'd be quite happy with potatoes.
I would be too.
Do you want a potato?
Boil, mash them, stick them in a stew. Then there's Père Noël, who visits the French children. He is said to be like Santa Claus and live in the North Pole with his reindeer. But in this depiction, children leave their shoes by the fireplace and fill them with carrots for his donkey, Guy. He will then replace the carrots with presents.
Oh, cute.
Then we have Tomta. They are from Scandinavia, and they're gnomes that appeared during the holiday season. They are usually with the Yule goat and will go around Christmas Eve handing out presents to children. Then we have La Befana. She's an old woman that delivers gifts to the children of Italy on Epiphany Eve, which, from what I could figure, was like January 4th or 5th. I don't know, it was weird. In addition to leaving treats in stockings, she would also sweep the floor, which meant that she was sweeping away the previous year's problems.
Oh, I like that.
Me too. Come sweep my floor, please. Then we have Christkind, or Christkind, which super freaking creepy if you look them up. From parts of Eastern Europe and Latin America, it resembles a small cherubic child with golden hair and celestial wings. It is highly elusive, and children are informed that if they try to find it, they will be disappointed. Its departure is frequently indicated by a bell, which parents quietly ring to inform youngsters that it is time to begin opening gifts. Then we have Olent Zero is a part of Basque mythology about a character that brings gifts during the holidays. He is frequently represented as an elderly male smoking a pipe and dressed in farmer's garb. According to legend, he was formerly a member of a mythological race of giants who once roamed the Pyrenees Mountains, and that he still resides there, keeping an eye on youngsters all year. Then we have two more. I'm sorry. We have Belsnickel. He is a terrifying legend that originates in German and Pennsylvania Dutch culture. He is said to resemble an elderly fur merchant with a long tongue and a long rod with which to punish misbehaving youngsters, as well as pockets full of sweets for those who were good, kind of like Krampus. And then we have Krampus, who is the most terrifying of the legends. Krampus is a half goat, half demon with gigantic curled horns on his head and a lengthy tongue, is a popular figure in Eastern Europe folklore. He follows St. Nicholas around, chastising misbehaving youngsters and drinking schnapps, which is a traditional gift for him. If you want to hear more about him, Ashley did Krampus last year for our Christmas episode, and it was
terrifying.
Awesome. And I got all of my sources from the St. Nicholas Center, Why Christmas, and all that's interesting.
Yay, I loved it. Thank you. That was great.
I hope so.
I loved it.
Good.
That's awesome. We'll have to leave a little disclaimer that we give away Santa secrets, so don't let kids listen.
Yeah. Do we want some bad jokes?
Yeah, of
Okay.
course.
Do you have any Christmas themed dad jokes?
Ooh, Christmas jokes. That's a great idea. Okay. I don't know if they're any good, but this is funny. Okay. Why do reindeer like Beyonce so much?
Ew, why?
She slays,
Oh my
but
God.
like the sleigh, like Santa's sleigh.
Do you get it? You get it?
Do you get it? Oh.
Disappointing.
Oh. What's every elf's favorite type of music? Rap.
I love these. They're so bad. I love them so much.
Okay, one more. What do you call an obnoxious reindeer? Rude Alf.
Oh my God. That was the worst one. Well, we hope all of you guys have a great Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever you celebrate.
Hanukkah's over.
Is Hanukkah over? Oh, bummer.
Well,
Well,
we
we hope
hope
you
you
had a great Hanukkah. And spend some time with your friends and family. And we love you all. Thank you so much for listening to us each week. We appreciate it. And you can find us on historiesandmysteries.ca. And we are on Facebook and Instagram.
If you'd like to rate and review us, we would really appreciate it because it helps us get out there a bit more.
It can be your Christmas present to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
All right, everyone. We hope you have a great rest of your year. And we look forward to bringing you 2 new stories next week.
Bye.
Bye.